The six of us barreled out of my dad's old-school Ford Econoline 150. It was like a tank and a hotel all in one. We went everywhere in that thing. And on long trips, there was so much space, we were able to sleep on the bed or couch that it had in the back. I doubt it would be close to passing emissions today, but the wrestling mobile did its job back then. All right, I'll be back to pick you all up on Sunday. With that, my dad left. Well, I guess I'm spending the night here, I thought. Bob brought us to one of the 3 Quonset huts designated for us. 2 of them were for the kids, and the other was for the coaches. That was kind of cool. I'd be sleeping in a cot in quarters where Marines had been. And I figured I was there to wrestle, to compete. This wasn't so bad. After I threw my gear on one of the cots, we were told to head to Chow Hall, which was a 2-mile trek away from the huts. By the time we finished eating, it was almost 7 p.m., and we headed to the gym for wrestling practice. I was one of the younger kids in the group, which ranged from 5th to 8th grade. There were only a few faces I recognized. Everyone else was new to me. When we started to practice, there was a heightened intensity compared to my club in Victorville. It was like the air was different. After practice, we showered and headed to our huts, and the coaches made sure lights were out by 10. On Saturday, we woke up at 6:30 a.m., and after brushing our teeth, had to jog the 2 miles to Chow Hall instead of walking. As we were jogging, we could hear the Marines chanting and would mimic their sayings. It was like we were one of them, soldiers fighting for our country. But we were just fighting to be better wrestlers. After breakfast, we were allowed to walk back to the barracks, and our first practice would start at 10 and go for a couple hours. We would shower, head to Chow Hall again, and eat lunch, then relax until 3:30 when we had another training session. That practice would last a minimum of 2.5 hours, depending on how hard Bob and the coaches wanted to push us. Then we would go back to the barracks and shower. We would go to Chow Hall for dinner, then lift weights for an hour, shower, and go back to the barracks, where my cot became my best friend, and I could sleep. I'd be exhausted by the time lights went out at 10, and on Sunday, we would do it all over again. Except this time, my dad would pick us up after dinner, and we'd make the trip from Camp Pendleton back to Victorville. This would become my routine every week. No more wrestling against kids that weren't close to my skill level. Now, I was wrestling against the best of the best in Southern California. Bob would go to wrestling tournaments from all around the area. Los Angeles County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County, Orange County, and San Diego County to recruit the best kids for his wrestling camp. He'd charge parents $9 to house, feed, and train their kids. No profit was taken. Bob didn't do it for the money. He was all about the coaching, wrestling, and maybe one of the kids would go on to do something great. It was about making these highly talented and motivated kids better, and it worked.